Imagine waking up one day to a sudden rise in commodity prices, including essential needs and food items. This is a challenge faced by many countries today, with Pakistan experiencing a staggering 31.4% increase in the prices of basic foods. Despite this, there remains uncertainty about the extent of Pakistan's stored reserves for national food security. No one really knows if there are still foods available to feed the whole Pakistan nation. Pakistan is presently grappling with a food crisis arising from a confluence of factors, including climate change, inflation, economic uncertainty, and the added impact of the Russia-Ukraine war. Given that wheat is a staple in Pakistan, the nation is confronting a significant food shortage at the moment. Ethiopia is currently grappling with a substantial increase in the prices of basic commodities, accompanied by an inflation rate reaching 28%. Compounding the issue is the unfortunate lack of significant stored food reserves. Egypt and Tunisia are also experiencing the harsh impact of inflation and soaring food prices. And there are a bunch of other countries that are facing the same problem. What are the hidden reasons behind it? What's more important is what kind of lessons can we learn from it? Your neighbors in the apartment are having a major falling out. Now, it's not our business, but guess what? Their spat decides to throw a tantrum of its own. They go ahead and cut the power, leaving the whole apartment in the dark. And as if that's not enough drama, one of them blocks the driveway with their car, making everyone late for their morning walk. It just goes to show how one little tiff can cause a ripple effect and mess up the day for everyone around. When a war erupts globally, like the Russia-Ukraine conflict, it ripples across nations. Egypt, Tunisia, and several others feel the impact, grappling with shortages in both energy and food supplies. It's a situation that goes beyond borders, affecting different countries. Some countries are actually making the most out of the Russia-Ukraine war. It's like a perfect chance for them to boost their power, show off their dominance, and expand their influence on the world stage. While the war causes shortages in basic stuff and food, these savvy countries are stepping in like saviors, planning to stick around for the long haul. So, let's zoom in and see how all this is playing out. Ukraine is like Europe's go-to-breakfast spot, thanks to a whopping 70% of its land being super fertile. And get this, they're the world's 7th biggest wheat supplier, chipping in 3% of the global production. Team up Ukraine with Russia, and you've got about 14% of all the wheat grown worldwide. And don't forget the sunflower oil. Ukraine handles around 31% of the global exports. That's some serious farming game. So, because of the whole war thing, Ukraine and Russia are too busy to focus on wheat and farming, messing up their exports. The prices of basic foods shoot up big time not only in these countries but also upon countries that are importing greatly from them. There is a country taking advantage of the inflation and food shortages in places like Tunisia, Egypt, Pakistan, and more.
Who's that Pokemon?
You know what? This is China. Since the onset of the war, China has notably been backing Russia, in stark contrast to the condemnation and extensive sanctions imposed by the West and other nations. Most of the world's banking systems have expelled Russian banks, but China takes a different stance by allowing Russia to continue its operations seamlessly within the Chinese markets and banking system. Why is China doing this? This is because China wants to make sure Russia has a strong grip on the war. As a result, the longer the war goes on, the more countries suffer. And guess what? China steps in as the hero, helping these struggling nations. They've got big plans for food security, making them look good globally and making these countries rely more on China. It's like a strategic move for them. Real question is, why is China helping both sides? China views this as a chance to climb the ladder and become a superpower. For some, wars are just part of doing business. Countries like the United States, India, and Canada have stockpiled food for security. In the USA, there's a surplus of about 30 to 40% in reserved foods. Even if they stop importing, the USA can hold out for about 6 months. China maintains a food reserve equivalent to 150% of its food production, providing the country with the ability to endure severe food security challenges for over a year. Following the Russia-Ukraine war, China has notably increased its rice purchases compared to previous levels. And China has an explanation for it. That memory of a severe famine and widespread destruction still haunts them today, an experience that they could never erase from their minds. So China explained this is the driving force behind their actions. They wanted to ensure that such a tragedy never occurs again. So, Russia used to be big on importing fertilizers, but that's not happening anymore. And to add to the mess, they've blocked Ukraine's access to the Black Sea, making it tough to deliver stuff to countries that really need it. This war isn't just messing with Ukraine's ability to grow food, it's also causing problems when it comes to the ability to export. So everyone is in trouble with food security, power shortage, and fuel shortage. Those countries really need an alternative way to solve these problems. China would never let go of an opportunity like this. China, with 20% of the world's population, possesses enough food resources to feed half of the global population. This is how China started to gain profit out of this war. As of mid-2022, China has purchased 69% of the world's reserve corn, 60% of rice, and 51% of wheat. This raises questions about the reasons behind China's actions. China has always been there to take advantage and make profit out of those weak and troubled nations. China usually uses its soft power in the form of diplomacy. Asia and Africa are loaded with natural resources, but they're a bit tech and infrastructure challenged. Most of the countries are not well developed. China consistently steps in to offer assistance. Employing debt-trap diplomacy, China extends its influence over nations like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and many African nations, purportedly in the guise of providing food security and other forms of support. Now you may know the true intentions of China really are. China has been financially aiding Russia since the war. Russia has been completely isolated from the West. This situation has driven Russia more dependent upon China. Because of the wars, many countries in the Middle East and Africa are suffering from food shortages. China steps in to help them, but in return, China not only extends its influence but also to extract natural resources from these countries confidently. In these countries, people really view China positively because they see China is helping them out of the trouble, without thinking what intentions China really has behind its actions. So, ever since the war kicked off, China went all out buying up food from around the globe. Now, countries that are already dealing with food problems are getting hit hard with some serious inflation, rising prices of basic foods. People starved and things got intense. China shows up to help these countries as a hero. There are two main reasons behind it. China gains the rights to extract rare natural resources, which is used to grow its power on the global stage. Secondly, the number of supporters of China has significantly increased. So this is like the situation: create a problem, then sell a solution. In conclusion, we should not really believe everything we see. We need to figure out the reasons behind every action. From personal level to wars, international relations all work the same. Everything is business. Don't just swallow everything the news dishes out. It's smarter to dig into the reasons behind the news and do a bit of fact-checking.